Hi, I'm Hannah McLaughlin, and this year I'm very grateful for Mr. Schwab and Mr. Ogden helping me out with Maynard Mayhem. I've learned a lot, and next year I'm studying animal science at the University of Vermont.
So my name is Felipe de Oliveira. So I'm also grateful to Ms. Ogden because he helping me a lot this year. So next year I'll get taking a gap year.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Mancini's Movie Matinee. Since the warm weather is upon us, I figured I'd take a look at a summer movie. Now, when choosing which movie to cover, I could not make a final decision. I'm talking, it was very hard. But then I was watching this movie with my dad, and I said, this right here, this is the one. So today we will be covering The Great Outdoors, released in 1988, directed by Howard Deutsch, and written by the famed John Hughes.
Don't talk back.
You just put on your coat and hat.
Hughes is popular for other iconic 80s movies such as Vacation, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and other films starring John Candy, Uncle Buck. The Great Outdoors is one of those movies that never gets old, no matter how many times I watch it. The actors do a great job with their deliveries of jokes and serious tone in the more dramatic stages of the movie.
Just as a common courtesy, if you don't mind.
You know damn well what he means.
I think they're trying to say that we're not welcome.
Aha! What did I hear? We've got a bingo!
The chemistry was clearly there considering Hughes had worked with these actors previously and they were all veteran actors. Starring the late John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, and many other popular faces of the 80s, it was bound to be a box office hit. The Great Outdoors had a budget of $24 million US and made nearly $44 million at the box office. Although when it was first released, it wasn't popular, it slowly became a cult classic. A reason it wasn't popular at the time was that it could have been seen as very similar to other movies released at the time. But as the movie got older, it cemented itself and as different, and there is definitely some nostalgia. Something unique about this movie is its landscape shots. It was filmed on a lake in Illinois with beautiful scenery and spacious areas.
What do you see?
I just see trees.
Well, no one ever accused you of having the grand vision. You.
As nature and campus play a huge role in this film, we see tons of animals. There's actually another celebrity in this film, which I didn't mention earlier. His name, Bart the Bear. Bart is a Kodiak bear trained to be an actor. You can see him elsewhere in movies like The Edge and Into the Wild.
Ladies and gentlemen, the star of 11 motion pictures, including Clan of the Cave Bear, Legends of the Fall, and most recently The Edge, Bart the Bear.
Now for the rating. Honestly, if you couldn't already tell, I love this movie so much. It might be biased, but I'm going to give it a 9.3 out of 10, which is actually the highest rated movie on the show ever. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Mancini's Movie Matinee. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
Next week? This is the last episode, Gavin.
Oh, well, I'm not going to see you guys next week. I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in to all my episodes. All you fans out there, even though there's only like 3 of you. And hopefully you guys have a great summer. Stay safe.
Today is the final episode of this year's Pedal to the Metal. And on this week's episode, I will be doing a tier list of every car covered in this year's segments. First on the list is the Ford GT40 Mark II. It's a timeless car and, in my opinion, the greatest Ford ever produced. With its incredible story of creation, its long history of record-breaking wins against Ferrari in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and its incredible body style, GT40 Mark II deserves nothing but the S tier. Second up on this list is the Ferrari 330 P3. It will go down as one of the greatest Ferraris of all time and easily one of the most beautiful cars of all time. 420 horsepower made the car even better, but even with that behemoth of an engine, it wasn't enough to beat the GT40 Mark II. And that's why it lands on the A tier in this list, not the S tier. The predecessor to the Ford GT40 Mark II, the Ford GT40, also belongs on this list. The Ford GT40 marked the beginning of Ford's reign in sports racing, and for these reasons, it deserves to share the title of A tier with the Ferrari 330 P3. The Nissan R34, the greatest GTR of all time, outdoing its counterparts, the R32, the R33, and the R35. The R34 also gets bonus points for being one of the star cars in the Fast and the Furious series. However, cars previously mentioned, earning it a place in the B tier. During this year's Fords vs Ferrari segment, I also covered the Ferrari 250 LM. The 250LM three-peated in the 24 Hours of Le Mans from 1962 to 1965. The car was redone, which created the infamous Ferrari 330 P3, which landed in the S tier on this list. I personally like the 330 P3 over the 250LM, so on my list, the 250LM will land in the A tier. The other Nissan I reviewed this year was the Nissan 300ZX. The 300ZX is my favorite Nissan of all time due to its incredibly unique design and its ability for customization. The 300ZX also has deep roots in the JDM community, making it even better. However, with that being said, the car lacks on power and in general does not compare to the other cars on this list, B tier. Somehow the only German car I reviewed this year was the BMW E46. The E46 is my favorite BMW of all time for many reasons, but mainly its engine. It comes stock with the M54 engine, one of the best of all time. And for these reasons, it lands the E46 in the B tier. Finally, for the Christmas special, I reviewed the Dodge Challenger Hellcat Red-Eye Sleigh. What a mouthful. The Dodge Hellcat Red-Eye is an absolute beast of a car, but the Sleigh takes away from its original prowess, so for that, the Red-Eye Sleigh comes in the F tier, meaning the worst. Thank you all so much for watching Pedal to the Metal this year, and a huge shout out to the original creator of this segment, Felipe. I have been your host, Blake Druskin, signing off.
What's up, everyone? My name's Ryan, and welcome to the final episode of the Uncovered and Undiscovered. In honor of its 90th anniversary, we'll be talking about the Loch Ness Monster. The story of the Loch Ness Monster originated in Scotland in 1933 when a man named George Spicer claimed to have seen a weird creature in a lake. He described it as an enormous animal rolling and plunging on the surface that was 4 feet tall and 25 feet wide with no limbs. After the original sighting was published, interest in the monster steadily grew, but skyrocketed after another couple claimed to have seen the creature on land. Amateur investigations went on for decades, but nothing ever resulted out of it until about the late 1960s, when several British universities launched investigations in hopes of discovering the Loch Ness Monster. But all that was found were hints of a large object moving underwater. Then, in 1975, when a new investigation was launched with more advanced equipment, and from there they got a picture that resembled a giant flipper of an aquatic animal. One of the most famous photographs of the Loch Ness Monster, the surgeon photo, a picture taken in 1934 of a sea creature with a long neck. People believe the surgeon photograph because of who it was taken by, a surgeon by the name of R. Kenneth Wilson. 60 years later, however, the photos proved to be fake. Although more pictures came to popularity throughout the years, there have been nothing that proves its existence. Because of this, the Loch Ness Monster is most likely a hoax, but what do you think? I've been Ryan McLaughlin, and thank you all for watching the Uncovered and Undiscovered this year.
As long as I can have you here with me, I'd much rather be forever in blue jeans, babe.
The Maynard girls basketball team had a pretty rough year with 9 wins and 9 losses, which is an improvement from their 6-10 record season last year. The team is led by Captain Ella Rowe, who is a huge role model and amazing leader for the team, who leads the team with passion and joy. Even after rough losses, Ella always motivates and inspires the team to do better. The highest scorer is Tessa Gilligan with an average of 12 points per game with a total of 670 points in her high school career. The team is pretty low in the D5 ranking at 7th place out of 11. They faced really tough opponents such as UN School Acton Boxborough and their rival Littleton, losing 36-51 to Acton Boxborough and losing 25-56 and 35-48 both times to Littleton. The team consists of amazing hard workers, including freshman Callie Courier, starting point guard who averages 9 points and 8 assists a game, and junior Nina Chioda who averages 15 points and 11 assists. It wasn't the best year, but with the way they've been constantly practicing and with the newfound motivation, next year would definitely be better for the Tigers.
We forgot to film an outro, so here it is. You getting one right now, after the fact.
So thank you all for watching all year, and I'll see y'all next year, hopefully. Peace out, boy.
Maynard Legacy. This concludes the Maynard Legacy 2022 to 2023. Thank you.
Cape Cod, Block Island, Nantucket. I'm back in New England.